Germany, the country that invented Christmas? Well, at least the country that has influenced many Western Christmas traditions. Hi, my name is Rina. The camera shy guy filming is Chris, and you are watching Dexpert, our German relocation project. Today I want to talk to you about some of our German Christmas traditions. Now, I've lived in the UK for 7 years now, and having had a British partner who's also lived overseas in the US, every year when it comes up to Christmas, we have conversations, discussions and questions around what is the German way, why do Germans do X, Y, Z. So rather than just addressing them here internally, I thought I would share these with you as well. So one of the questions that is quite frequently asked by other people as well is, when do German Christmas festivities start? You know, is there a set date, as in when do we start getting into the Christmas spirit? And yes, there is actually a date, which would be the first Advent. Now, I think that in the UK and also in the US, the concept of Advent isn't really known, so let me explain what it is. Advent is a Latin word, and it means the anticipation of the arrival of Christ, obviously, which is why we celebrate Christmas, right? The birth of baby Jesus. Now, there are 4 Advent Sundays before Christmas Eve, and that is when we start getting up into the Christmas spirit. As you can possibly see, there is my Advent wreath. Now, this one is made of wood. Normally it would be like a wreath of, you know, sort of pine twigs, and they all have 4 candles on them. So if it's still 4 Sundays to Christmas, that would be the first Advent, then you would only have 1 candle lit. Now, the second week you would light the second candle. Today is the 3rd Advent, meaning that it's only 1 more Sunday to go before Christmas, which is why I have now lit 3 candles, and we count that backwards from Christmas Eve. So if Christmas Eve happens to be on a Sunday, then it would also coincide to be the 4th Advent. If it is a Saturday, then the previous Sunday would be the 4th Advent. And that is basically the origin, and say the first Advent is when we traditionally start all our preparations for Christmas. So obviously another question then would be, during Advent, is there anything else that we celebrate? Are there any more festivities? And yes, there is. There is St. Nicholas, or as we Germans call it, Nikolaus, St. Nikolaus Tag, which is on the 6th of December. Now, you might have heard of St. Nicholas, who was a bishop of Myra, which is in what today is the country of Turkey. And there are many, many legends around him. He lived in the year 270, so this is like 1700 years ago. And he died somewhere around the year 350. And there are many legends around him and how he did very good deeds for the poor people, for people in need. And allegedly he died on the 6th of December, which is why today we celebrate this in Germany. Now, you have to be careful not to confuse St. Nicholas with Father Christmas, the Weihnachtsmann. St. Nicholas traditionally will have to be pictured as a bishop wearing a white and gold bishop robe, wearing a bishop's tiara, and carrying his cane or staff, or whatever you want to call it. Now, the tradition around him is that on the night of the 5th of December, children and so inclined adults will leave 1 boot, or if you're greedy, both, outside the front door for Nikolaus to fill overnight, so that when you come downstairs in the mornings, there will hopefully be some presents in there. Now, again, traditionally, say 50 years ago, before the whole consumer area really hit, these presents would be nuts and fruit. Now, originally the fruit of Christmas is like oranges and mandarinas and maybe clementines. Obviously, in the more modern times, you would find chocolates and you would find little presents in your boot if you have been a good boy or girl. Also, this whole tradition, American tradition, mostly with the Christmas stocking, originates in the boots, and especially in a particular legend around Saint Nicholas, where he allegedly threw money through a chimney of a poor man and it landed in his stocking. Now, what happens to those who have been naughty? Well, tradition has it that there is another companion of Saint Nicholas, and he's called Knecht Ruprecht. The English word would be servant or farmhand Rupert. This tradition is about 1,000 years old. He's said to be Nikolaus's companion, and they would be coming to town together. And while Saint Nicholas would be having presents for the good children, well, Rupert would have a cane and beat them, because they have been naughty. Obviously, this isn't done today, and hopefully not in recent times. If you think it's a good idea, please don't. So, in order to in order to tell your kids off, you would maybe put a piece of coal into their boots or a birch twig. So kids then have another 2 weeks to really up their game and be good, so that hopefully Christmas will be a bit of a better experience. Now, obviously, as you can see here, we've got a bit of more or less traditional German Christmas decoration up. So I want to talk to you about some German Christmas decorating as well. Most people outside Germany will know some of the most iconic items. For instance, like the nutcrackers. Unfortunately, I don't have a nutcracker right now, but you all know the wooden handcrafted nutcracker, and you might have heard of those candle arches that are being handcrafted in Germany. Some of you have seen those little pyramids with little candles underneath that make the pyramids turn. And then we have little items like these, which is, for instance, a little angel, and they have an orchestra. So traditionally they would all be on a little wooden cloud. And then we also have little like smoke mannequins where you would put a little candle, something incense inside, and the smoke would emerge from their mouth. So for instance, one sitting here and another two on the sideboard. So these are handcrafted in Germany in a region called the Erzgebirge, which translates to the Ore Mountains, which is a region in Saxony, Eastern Germany. And if you ever get the chance to go there in the time before Christmas, please do. It is absolutely stunningly beautiful. So, okay, so this is the German side of things also, just because we've got a tree up there. The German classic Christmas tree tradition would be to have a real tree, not a fake one, and also to decorate it with straw stars and with red baubles. That's the very, very old classic tradition, let's put it that way. Of course, people these days, sort of decorate their trees however they want, and I think maybe also for cost reasons, artificial trees might become a bit more popular in Germany these days, and also for ecological reasons. But the tradition is, and you will always see lots and lots of Christmas trees, real trees being sold in Germany in the time coming up to Christmas. Now, again, one thing that I thought was really weird when I first came to the UK was the concept of Christmas morning and Boxing Day. And what is all of this? Christmas presents, as far as I was concerned, being German, are unpacked on Christmas Eve, right? So this is when baby Jesus was born, allegedly, and when we would be unwrapping the presents. So we don't know the concept of Boxing Day at all, but we unpack the presents on the 24th. Now, in some countries, it's really easy to say, who delivers the presents, and it's just Santa Claus. But again, Germany is a bit different here, maybe a bit schizophrenic, or at least divided. In the northern and eastern parts of Germany, it will be Father Christmas, or der Weihnachtsmann, Christmas man. who delivers the presents. That is an area that is traditionally not very religious, or if religious, then Protestant. Whereas the western and southern parts of Germany, very Catholic, would believe in Christkind, which is baby Jesus. And they would be the ones delivering the presents on the eve of Christmas. That would be normally, the family would be attending Mass at church. And then when you come home from Mass, you would find the presents under the tree. Now, let me explain a bit more about Father Christmas, Weihnachtsmann, or the Christkind. So the Christkind you would always see pictured as mostly a blonde girl with curly hair and a white dress, which is reminiscent of how people perceive angels to look. Whereas the tradition of Father Christmas as a benevolent old man is a tradition dating back to the 18th century, and that is what the Americans then in the 1930s adapted to become Santa Claus as we know him these days, you know, with a Coca-Cola truck. But that comes from the Dutch settlers, who have also bought into the tradition of Father Christmas, and when they settled in America, they, you know, brought this tradition with them. And that is how we celebrate Christmas. Now there is also obviously the question about traditional Christmas food. So one of the most traditional things I would say is on Christmas Eve, actually, to make it really easy, we would have potato salad and sausages. Now why is that? Because mostly the mothers would be very busy on Christmas Eve, cleaning the house, tidying up, sometimes even putting up the tree on Christmas Eve. So having a potato salad being something that you can make way in advance, and then in the evenings just you know, sort of frying up or heating up some sausages would be the traditional way to go. And then on the first day of Christmas, 25th of December, a traditional food would be goose, actually. Roast goose with dumplings and with red cabbage, braised cabbage, something like that would be what you'd find in many German households. And that might also maybe take me to a little excursion to baking, because that is another very, very traditional thing to do during Advent time. The mother and the kids would be in the kitchen baking biscuits, actually, lots and lots of different Christmas cookies. You might have seen Vanillekipferl, who are the shape of a crescent moon, a vanilla type, sort of shortbread, basically, with icing sugar, or you would see the cinnamon stars, or stuff like that. And this is how we celebrate Christmas. I appreciate that many of these traditions might seem somehow familiar to you. If you're German or you've lived in Germany for a while, you might recognize some of these. You might also say, oh, she's completely wrong with saying X, Y, Z. So obviously I can only speak from my own experience, so you're definitely welcome to yours. And I hope you like this particular video. If you want to know anything else about life in Germany, about Christmas in Germany, about anything else, then just drop a little comment under this video and I will see what I can do for you. Thank you and Merry Christmas, frohe Weihnachten.